they both were leaders of different region. But if you would change that to modern times, Caesar would be a fucking pussy, and Cleopatra would be like the girl boss and telling everyone like how what a tiny Caesar has, right? He be cooked, and that's it. That's the modern version. Let's watch this one by Critical Drinker.
If there's one genre I'd love to see make a serious comeback, it's the historical epic. Swords and sandals, gods and monsters, battles and adventures, legendary warriors and terrifying villains. I mean,
it's a beautiful. I mean, it doesn't get more dude movies than that, right? Like these battles and. I don't know. I get that they want to tell a modern story, but it collides with these worlds, right? The way they talk, saying dad and bro, and they got this hip-hop music.
I mean, Hollywood's flirted with the idea from time to time over the past couple of decades. Some more successful than others. Don't worry though, 300, you'll always have a...
Because you want to kind of like immerse yourself, right? So you don't want to change it too much from the source material.
Special place in my heart.
Good night. Appreciate that 100 bits. No.
It's Sparta!
Sparta! Yes!
But it seems like this year, things might finally be changing. Christopher Nolan has turned his gigantic quantum space brain away from discovering the secrets of the universe and assembled one of the biggest all-star casts in modern Hollywood.
Actually, we've been talking about this all week, right? The way, I mean, we're talking about this all the time, the way Hollywood is ruining the industry.
For the Odyssey, a retelling of Homer's epic saga about the Greek king Odysseus and his decade-long journey to get home to his family after fighting in the Trojan Wars for another 10 years before that. Meanwhile, his wife has to keep the home fires burning and contend with the unwanted advances of men who want the crown. It's actually kind of hilarious when you look at all this on a map, because a journey from Troy to Ithaca is only like 500 miles by sea, and it should have taken him a couple of weeks. But man, the gods just had it in for that f***ing guy.
Honey, I'm home!
What the hell happened?
Look who the fates dragged in.
Anyway, stories don't get much more epic than the Odyssey. It truly is one of the great adventures in human history, blending together mythology, religion, monsters, and the unbreakable determination of the human spirit. And bringing it to life on screen is a challenge that will strain the very limits of modern filmmaking. But now that I've seen the trailer and I've considered the artistic vision behind this movie, I have to say my reaction was... meh. I don't know what it is, man. There's just something about this movie that doesn't quite stir anything in me, which is pretty surprising because in theory at least it's got all the ingredients for success.
Yeah.
The kind of source material that's practically tailor-made for epic Hollywood filmmaking. The kind of all-star cast that only comes together once in a generation. And a director with a mostly good track record as a filmmaker. So why the f*** does it feel so bland? Well, to try and answer this, let's take a closer look at those key elements again, shall we? First of all, there's the
armor
source
is
material.
gross. I don't
Nothing
like the new
there,
armor
right?
at all.
Wrong.
Wrong!
Well, the problem is that the Odyssey was originally written in ancient Greek, obviously, meaning that it has to be translated into English for it to be legible. And what kind of story you ultimately get very much depends on which translated version you read. In this case...
Yes. Of course, it matters with the translation, but the concept should be like, come on, you can't just go, because you're a feminist in 2020s, go like, oh, by the way, let's change history, and it turns out that I can translate the old Greek into like the women basically made all the decisions. And I don't want this version, and clearly no one cares for this version either. It's a stupid chick that decided to change the translation so it fits her norm. This is not history. This is her trying to do a spin-off of what never actually happened.
Christopher Nolan has publicly stated that he's a big fan of the 2017 adaptation
See,
of the
the
Odyssey,
Emily
which was
Wilson.
translated from Greek by British writer Emily Wilson. Why exactly does that matter? Well, because Emily Wilson just so happens to be a hardcore progressive feminist who specifically set out to reimagine Homer's
Does it though? Can we please stop reimagining things?
text through a female-coded, gender-critical, postmodernist lens. Because of course she did.
Of
Basically
course she did.
stretching the very limits of the original text to bend it around modern sensibilities. It's the same kind of creeping, cloying, well, I think what he really meant to say here was bullshit that gave us 2026's Animal Farm, a story that went from a parable about the Russian Revolution to a ridiculous, shallow, capitalism bad piece of Hollywood slop.
Oh,
That is the
no.
version we're likely to get here with all its gender identity navel-gazing, and if that doesn't raise a few red flags, then let's take a closer look at that all-star cast, shall we? Now, Matt Damon and Anne Hathaway are solid enough as the two leads, at least. I mean, if I was to be super critical, I'd say that Hathaway hasn't done anything particularly significant since, well, the last time she was in a Christopher Nolan movie, and she was arguably the worst thing about Interstellar, but that's a conversation for another day. I can't say I'm ever particularly excited by an Anne Hathaway project, but holy shit, is she making a comeback this year? In 2020.
Oh my god, it's only chick flicks.
Alone, she's in 5 separate movie projects, one of which is playing in the cinemas right now. But
Dude,
speaking
no
of
way.
overexposed actors that we could all use a break from, Zendaya is in this movie as
The crazy thing here has always been powerful women in history. They have. Yet whenever they cast a woman now, they act like the strong women in a brand new concept. And I hate that there's only strong women, but not strong men anymore. And they don't live in harmony and balance, right? They don't respect one another. So if there's a powerful woman, let's say Cleopatra, right? She was a leader and a woman. And then let's take Caesar. They both were leaders of different regions. But if you would change that to modern times, Caesar would be a fucking pussy, and Cleopatra would be like the girl boss and telling everyone like how what a tiny Caesar has, right? He be cocked, and that's it. That's the modern version.
is Athena, the goddess of wisdom.
Oh no.
Holy fuck, man. This girl's
Don't
become
give
the
them
female
ideas,
equivalent
Juju.
of Pedro Pascal.
Pascal.
She is just everywhere all of a sudden, and for the life of me, I cannot
Yeah.
understand why.
She's
I
boring.
have never seen a single Zendaya
She is boring. She's like the same role in all the movies, like Dune, Spider-Man, the Doctor Strange one. She's always got the same expression and the same, like, totally overrated if you ask me. There's not much. You're very boring. Yeah, she looks hot, but that's about it.
performance in my life and thought, oh my god, she absolutely carried this movie. Tell me, what's your favourite Zendaya expression? The angry frown? The confused frown?
Yeah,
or the confused angry?
which expression is it? The happy Zendaya, the sad one, the confused one, the raging one, the really loud and obnoxious one, the mysterious and strange one. Maybe she's horny in this one. Who knows? Look the same.
Frown.
She's hot, but she doesn't
Elliot
show
Page
emotion.
is also in this
Hi,
movie.
Stripe.
As what exactly? I don't fucking know.
Oh yeah, the Twilight
drummer
girl.
boy,
Man,
maybe?
I hated
Page
her.
is like 5 feet tall and weighs 90 pounds soaking wet.
This is not an Achilles. It's not. And I know it's just rumored, but since the other one got confirmed, I bet this one's confirmed too. It's so bad. Oh no!
Wet, so I don't really see how they're going to fit
It's
in
tried
amongst
the
all
old
those
YouTube
big
buddy,
Greek
yes.
soldiers and terrifying monsters.
All the YouTube
Lupita
buddies
Nyong'o is
over on the
widely
kick.
rumoured to be playing the Greek princess Helen of Troy, which if it turns out to be true would make about as much sense as
It has been confirmed. She's the Helen of Troy. It's confirmed now. This video is a couple of days old, but yeah, it's true. She's going to be the Helen of Troy. She's the reason Sparta is going to war with Troy. And I don't see it.
Papa Asuido playing Severus Snape, but hey, what can I say?
It's Hollywood, baby.
It's
Thank
Hollywood.
you, Rachel. But the thing that stood out for me about the entire cast in this trailer
the
was
face
just
that
how
launched
bland and
1,000
mundane
ships.
they all look and sound. Every time I saw one of them, all I thought was, oh yeah, there's Robert Pattinson, there's Charlize Theron, there's Tom Holland. Where are the larger-than-life mythical figures of legend that should be...
True, it's only actors. It's not really like brutes and berserkers and like these edgy square where you would believe that they have spent decades in the war fighting the front and actually pull it off, like make it believable that these are rough and tough men, right?
leaping from the pages of Homer's epic to amaze us all. It all feels weirdly subdued and underwhelming, and a big part of that decision is to have them speak with American accents, modern terminology.
My dad is coming home.
Oh, your dad's coming back, is he? Did he take some b***ing selfies? Hope he didn't get godmogged along the way.
Can you imagine, like, Greek gentleman back in the days going like, hey, my dad gonna pick me up, you know, on his, like, e-scooter. And then I'm gonna go shopping with mom. So you would use words like father and make it more poetic, make it more believable. Use the language to set a narrative and immerse yourself on how they would have expressed themselves back in the days with being more civilized. Like, you know, proper manners and titles and respect in the way the world used to be. You couldn't just like, yeah, bruh, 6'7", dudes, my dad gonna come any minute now. Like, what the fuck are we doing?
Hey, there's a reason movies like this traditionally use theatrical English and formalized
It's the same with the
language for their-
music, right? You want to hear orchestras. You want to hear classical music. You want to hear like epic horns blowing in the distance, and I don't know, big drums slapping. And what do you get? Like hip hop, like yo, yo, yo. Like, what the frick are we doing?
dialogue. It gives them a sense of grandeur, seriousness, and
grandeur,
dramatic
that's
weight
the
that
word.
naturally lend itself to the epic story they're trying to tell. Having your actors talk like they just walked in off the street in downtown LA just feels
I'm thinking of actors like Patrick Stewart, or, you know, like real theater. How... Imagine if you watched Lord of the Rings and Frodo would be like, yo, dude, I'm going to trash the ring in the mountain. And then Dad is going to be like, what the fuck, 6'7". Can you imagine what a shitty movie it would have been like if the elves just talked like any random Joe Schmo on the street?
feels weirdly lazy and immersion breaking.
Yes.
And before anyone chimes in with little pearls of wisdom like, Drinker, you know as well as I do they would have spoken Greek in a story like this, so why does it even matter what accents
It
they
does
use?
matter.
Well, hypothetical straw man, we all know the language they would have spoken, but we also know that having your entire cast learn a whole new language just so the audience can sit through 3 hours of subtitles is neither practical nor logical. That doesn't mean that you have to go in completely the other direction and give us shit like this. Let's go! And this all brings me.
Let's go. No, I'm thinking like movies like Braveheart, and, you know, it sets in a certain era of time, and you wouldn't have had these modern words that are slang.
Me back to the man at the center of all of this, Christopher Nolan, the director and writer. Now, I know the man has a fan base so rabidly loyal that they make Snyder Bros
Reckon
look like
has a,
fucking normies,
precise-
and he's
yeah,
given us some
the-
fascinating films
used
to
to
chew over
be
in
a
his
talent,
time.
a
But I'll be
skill.
honest here, the
Not
guy can
everyone
also
could
be
do
his
it
own worst enemy
just because
at
he
times.
looked beautiful.
Sometimes he really is just.
And honestly, I miss ugly actors. Ugly actors have character. Everyone looks so plastic face and Botoxed up and weird, and I don't want that. Like, that's a different weird character. I need those scruffy dudes, and I don't know. If I compare with like 80s and 90s movies, they look way more scruffy. And which was cool because it made you believe that this could actually be real, right? This could be me in the ancient times, or my neighbor, or I can relate to this character rather than having a plastic face that, this Hollywood look, you know what I mean?
Too smart for his own goods. Rightly or wrongly, he's developed a reputation as a clinical, intellectual, and
Fake
slightly
makeup,
sterile
yeah.
kind of director. A master of ideas who can't seem to wrap his head around simple humanity. And I get the impression that's always chafed
No,
at him,
trying to be
especially
so
with his more recent
beautiful.
movies where it feels like he's got something to prove. Like the weirdly out of place love.
Because if you think about it, and I notice this a lot, modern movies, back in the days, let's say we have a Wild West movie, right? From, let's go, time frame 60s. Some kind of, let's go Charles Bronson, for instance. His face would be smeared up with mud and ash and you know, the dust that's blowing, and so you would hardly like see his face. It would be all scrawny and rough, right? And nowadays you make the same movie and you put an actor in like Brad Pitt or I don't know, Leonardo DiCaprio. Leonardo DiCaprio in that one movie where he's like, that it goes way too long and he slays all these bears, right? His face, he doesn't look dirty enough. He's crawling around in the shit, yet he doesn't look dirty. It kind of looks like almost this perfect, a little bit mud stain here and a little bit of a scrap there, but not fully on, you know. And it's weird. The Revenant, yeah. Compare that with an old Charles Bronson movie. I don't know. I like A Handful Dollars More, or The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Take an actor from those movies and look how dirty and smeared up they are. Which makes it believable, because you really believe, like, okay, he went through some shit, and that's why he looks so disgusting. But then you take a newer movie like The Revenant, for instance, and yes, he's still dirty, but not in the same way. He looks almost too perfect dirty.
Love scenes in Oppenheimer that feels like two androids replicating their understanding of a human relationship.
I want the real
man
mud
definitely
back. I
has
want
a
the
niche, but
actors to
character-driven
get
historical
dirty,
epics
man.
don't seem to be it. And with Odyssey, it's like he's saying, see, there's more to me than sci-fi thrillers and slightly overrated superhero movies. And I don't know, man, from the
lot of
casting
movies
to
are
the
overrated.
dialogue to the bleak, washed-out cinematography, I can't shake the feeling that he just isn't the right man to direct a movie like this. I mean, shit, maybe I'm totally wrong on this one. Maybe the Odyssey will be the crowning achievement in Nolan's career and make him more money than Avatar.
But I don't
or
believe
maybe
it.
it'll turn out to be his own personal albatross. Time, as always, will tell, but I'll be interested to see how it pans out one way or the other. Anyway.
Let's look at this image here. Look at this. You can tell this is not, well, sorry. This is not like in an actual area. And the sand, I don't know. It's almost perfectly in line. It's not as messy. It's not like, you know, there weren't like 100 actors there getting all down and grunty and messing shit up. It looks too clean. And also, if you notice, like the colors of movies today, everything goes in a shade of beige and this gray, and there's not these like orange bright colors that we used to see in older movies. It had a more like vivid light, probably because they were recording and doing live action takes. They would actually travel to foreign destinations and record and make everything, you know, look kind of real. Still in a movie set for sure, but with the combination of adding real sequences. And today everything is kind of just set up to perfection. We're not real. Let's just be honest. Nothing is real anymore. Certainly not the internet. Everything is freaking fake.